the most underrated, out of left field division last year in the AFC South. I don't think anybody saw some of these teams in the AFC South having the types of seasons they did. I was 1,000% wrong last year on this division. I think I had it in reverse order. AFC South predictions. We're going to start again with who do you think is going to be last place? I'm going to go to NFL Mike first. Who do you have last place in the AFC South?
Last place in the South was really hard, Tony, because I don't think any of these teams stink enough to only win 5 games. But you're looking at the schedule, looking at the way things break down. You have to give a team in this division 5 or 6 games, and the worst team in this division to me is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not super confident in this prediction. I had the Jaguars going 5-12, and it all completely falling apart for them. I have them starting off 0-4. Then going on a second 4-game winning streak in the tail end of the season to the Lions, Texans, Titans, Jets, Raiders in a row. And it's just, I had a hard time doing this to the Jaguars, and Jaguars fans aren't going to agree with me. And I don't think that they should be a 5-win team with Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and this defense. But I just don't think that they've put together the weapon core to keep up with some of these other teams in the divisions. And they're going to lose some close games to the Titans and Colts and Texans this year. It's going to damage their record a ton.
What was the record?
I had him going 5-12. I don't feel super excited about saying that, but that's how I have it on the schedule.
Okay, Joe.
I don't think Jacksonville fans are going to be mad at you, Mike. They're all used to disappointment. Most of them are Charger fans. Of when the Chargers moved from San Diego to LA, they picked Jacksonville for some reason. I don't know, but I too have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the bottom of the division. I have them with one more win than Mike does. I got them at 6-11. I just don't like their defense that much, and how they gave Trevor Lawrence that contract is fucking nuts to me. It's just the NFL, but I don't get it. I'm not a big believer in it. I don't think they've shown me a lot. I thought Trevor they were going to use Etienne more than and use like I wanted more out of Etienne last year, and they used him a lot, but they didn't use him the way they like. It took until like the third or fourth quarter to actually start seeing like, oh, there we go. There's Etienne out of the backfield, But looking at the rest of this team, like everybody else is taking a giant step forward, and it just seems like the Jaguars are going backwards again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm more optimistic. I still have them finishing third. I thought I was going to be the low person here. I am completely blindsided by you two having them this low. I have them at 8-9, finishing third in the division. I do think I'm a bigger fan of Gabe Davis. I like that acquisition. I think he does fit the offense a little bit better than Calvin Ridley, even though I think Ridley's the better player. I like the acquisition of Mitch Morris. I think it's important to get a veteran center there to help out Trevor, to help that offensive line. Also like the acquisition of Ronald Darby. Although, is that an effect of him playing in Baltimore in that scheme around that much talent? I did also think it was interesting. They got both of the interior guys from LSU who were really high recruits, but didn't quite live up to that level of production once they got to LSU. But Jordan Jefferson and Mason Smith, Mason with 2 A's, wouldn't even let me type it. Like the artificial intelligence kept correcting it to Amazon. I was getting pissed. I just ended up spelling it the old classic way. Anyways, I'm getting off onto something that doesn't matter at all. I think with the Jaguars, they're in a weird situation where it's like Doug Peterson is a good coach. He's won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. What's going on? So then I looked at it last year and I was like, they're 8-3. Trevor Lawrence gets injured and guts through the end of the season, and they end up missing out on the playoffs in last week or last couple of weeks, need to win and get in type games. And I look around at it and I go, I don't really have any reason for like why maybe I picked a game to go the Titans way or go the Colts way or whatever it is. But there's just something about the Jaguars where I'm like, what is it that they do really good? I think they're going to do really good. That's going to win them a bunch of games. And like, has Trevor Lawrence shown to be like that massive difference maker outside of having the greatest second half ever against Brandon Staley in a playoff game? Like, he's had moments, the comeback in the Cowboys game, and I think there was a game against the Eagles where he, put on some magic. I don't know. Like, I just feel like a 9. I had him at 9-8, and then for whatever reason I finished with an 8-9 record. So I got him in third place, and I do think there'll be some conversations about coaching and potentially with GM there, Trent Baalke. Because that's
when you look at this offense, the Jacksonville Jaguars offense, it should be a good offense. Like, they have weapons, they have. I don't know. I want to see more. I want to see what is Brian Thomas going to add to it. You got, like you said, is Kirk going to come back 100% from his injury? So it's just, I like the offense. I have more questions about the defense than anything else, like holding leads and being able to stop teams from scoring. I'm not a big like that Armstead acquisition. Like, it didn't make me go, oh, amazing that. And then Josh, I mean, we can't call him Josh Allen no more, right? Josh Hines Allen is his name now. Is he gonna benefit from those extra guys on the line? I don't know. I think Jacksonville, to me, had more question marks, and maybe I'm just higher on some of these other teams than that, and that's what dropped them. But
yeah.
Well, maybe they'll get a special teams boost from Mike's guy, Parker Washington.
There you go. The kickoff legend. He's going to be a Hall of Fame kick returner. But yeah, I just got a bad taste in my mouth from the Jaguars last year. That's really it, because when you look at the roster, like Joe's saying, it's there. They should be good. You're just in a really tough division, and the taste of last season is still in my mouth, and it's going to be hard to get it out of my mouth until Trevor Lawrence goes out there and looks like a fucking MVP.
Joe, keep it together, Joe. Keep it together. I know.
That right there, that little 1 minute talk that Mike just did is a great fucking clip right there.
That was about 15 seconds for one, and for two, Joe, you can't make any jokes when you literally put your dick in another Raiders fan's hands and post it all over the internet.
You just said, Mike, you had taste in your mouth from last year, and it's hard in your mouth.
You backed up like 7 yards and ran directly at another man and put your dick in his hands. He held it.
First of all,
play the clip. Where's the MJT editors when you need them? Play the clip.
Yeah, see, you don't even have the clip. And that's all you got? That's all you have? There's a lot more things I've done, Mike, than that. So
it's worse.
Time out. Let's get back on track here.
Okay.
Yeah, back on track.
Who'd you have last, Tony?
We'll get to that. It's not how the show's. We're not working like that. We are working like this, though. We are going to go to Joe, and because you said who your last place team was, so now we're going to let Joe lead off. Joe, who is your first place team?
Did you see this comment right here first, Tony? Does this mean anything to you?
Yeah, no, I hear what he's saying, that there is, like, he is the most accomplished, but he also has shown that there's a lot of sort of average seasons on that resume, even with the Eagles' talent and stuff like that. Like, even I think after the Super Bowl year, they still went to the playoffs. Carson Wentz gets injured early on in that game, and Nick Foles has another maybe game or end of the second half. Like, I mean, also too, like, I know it's only a 1 year sample size, but what DeMeco Ryans did last year is a pretty impressive turnaround. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, I think Shane Steichen has shown that everywhere he goes, great things happen. So I don't think that, even though Doug Peterson has a Super Bowl on the resume, I don't think that the gap is like that huge of a difference. Like, I don't think of Doug Peterson as being like an offensive, as offensively sharp as Shane Steichen. I don't necessarily think that the run game and, that the impact can be had there is that big of a difference, because you get a team like the Titans that have Bill Callahan on the staff, which I think is a major factor.
There's a very accomplished coach that finished last place in his division last year, probably the best coach of that division, and he finished last place and not even in the league this year. So, I mean, accomplished. It's the NFL. What have you done for me now? Like, you start losing out. just because you're the most accomplished doesn't mean that you're keeping up and these guys aren't out coaching you now. Anyways, first place in the division, I'm going back with I'm going to run it back with the Houston Texans. 11-6 is what I have. 11-6 for the Houston Texans. Offense just got stronger. They added more to the offense. We'll see how much like the Joe Mixon acquisition is one that I'm still questioning, and I want to see how good it is because towards this time at the end of Cincinnati, we were like, does he still have it? Because there were some times on the goal line where he was just getting stopped, or he wasn't even getting in the end zone, and you're like, what the hell is Joe Mixon doing? So I questioned that one. And then the Diggs, is Diggs going to stay happy? Is he going to start fighting with them? But I like, Tony, already know that how I feel about Tank Dell and Nico Collins. I like both of them. And I think this defense only improves in year 2 under D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, I have the Texans top of the division 2 at 11-6. I think that they've had one of the most impressive off seasons, like from a free agent standpoint. I know that Danico Autry is going to be out for 6 games because of PED suspension, but you bring in Azeez Al-Shaair, who played for him in that defense in San Francisco. Daniil Hunter, like bringing over a guy with that much ability to put him opposite of rising Will Anderson. Now, like Will Anderson might get less chips, might get more one-on-ones. I think that's extremely dangerous. I think they also added guys like Jeff Okudah, but if he's like your CB3 or rotational or whatever, like now all of a sudden you're adding more depth on this defense. The rookie they drafted, Kamari Lassiter, is like played at Georgia, versatile player, safety, nickel, like these things matter. I also like the addition of a guy like Cade Stover who can come in and I think is going to be willing to be there in the run game and focus on that because you have Dalton Schultz there. So I see the Texans as one of these teams that have put together, have said, this is our opportunity right now. It might not get any better than this. We're going to bring in Diggs and we're going to just go attack everything we can. 11 wins. I had them at one point 13-4. I just think with how tough this division is, and this division has to play the NFC North too. Like, so those two divisions this year matching up against each other is really, really interesting because I think all 8 of these teams are on some version of the rise or some version of interesting. And that is extremely intriguing to me. Like these games that previously would have been like Lions Texans, you would have been like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to watch this. And now it's like, I can't wait to see this game. I'm probably going to watch the game in real time and then watch the replay again to see all the things that I missed. So
I'm with you. 100%. Yeah. I'm 100% with you in the love for the Texans. I have them winning the division as well at 12-5. And for all the same reasons you guys do, I think this is a top 5 wide receiver core. And I think that a lot of people are now underrating Diggs. Before they were overrating Diggs as, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, top 5 guy. I think that he's firmly still a top 10 wide receiver in this league, and he's gonna be very good with CJ Stroud. All of the issues that he had in Buffalo and in Minnesota, it seems to start to come up after a couple of years of struggling. So I think Diggs will be good for these 2 years, attitude-wise and excitement-wise, to go out there and attack this thing. And that's their window, Tony. They're in a championship window, I think, 2-3 years or so. I have them at 12-5, but I really think if a couple of these tough games on this schedule go a certain way, they can be one of the teams that compete with the Chiefs for that first spot. I think the only 2 names you didn't mention, Tony, is the secondary. They also have Petrie and Singletary taking another leap in the secondary. If both those guys can take the jumps that we've seen them take over the last couple of years from year 1 to 2 to now, I think it's even going to get nastier for them, man. I have as much confidence in the Texans defense as any team in the league to improve a ton this year. And they were good last year.
Yeah. I think the acquisition of getting a middle linebacker like that you can pair with, they got Christian Harris out of Alabama to give him a little bit, more.
He's very comfortable too. Like Azeez can just go in there and he's ready to just play. Let's go.
they're going to have, I think, really good talent at all three levels of the defense. The question here from Kyle, I appreciate these questions. They're a lot of fun. And like to hear your thoughts on them too in the comments. Just gotta ask them. What do you think about it? I do see Hunter as an upgrade. I think that it's one of those things where it's like Minnesota was like, hey, I don't want to pay a guy this old the same amount of money that I could pay somebody who's on the rise. So it's like Hunter's at his peak right now. They're paying somebody like Jonathan Grignard in Minnesota, who was with the Texans last year. We think this guy can ascend even a little bit more. And the Texans are saying, we want a guy who's a bona fide fourth quarter. This team is coming back on us. It's 3rd and 7. You're getting man on man. We need you to go get this done player in Danielle Hunter. He was the Vikings game last year. He was a nightmare for Herbert in that game. It was, Herbert
he's an absolute beast. But I think I've always thought that Hunter is up there with the best pass rushers in the NFL. It's just been a health thing. I think he brings that next level of explosiveness in pass rush and is as good in run defense as Grignard was. So I think that's what they're going for, is to try and add to speed up the quarterback even more than Grignard could.
Yeah. And I think Grignard is perfect for what Flores wants to do too. Like that very aggressive style. I think he's going to have a great year there. So, I could see it as an upgrade. I don't necessarily know that I would go that way. If I had to choose, I would choose slight upgrade, but I think it's pretty washed out for different reasons. The last thing I want to say about the Texans, unless Joe has something he wants to add, is I think one of the biggest things for them was not losing Bobby Slowick to a team like the Panthers. Right, you're in that situation where now Slowick is like, he gets another year in the offense. CJ has the ability to take that next step. And then who I think, not even pound for pound, maybe one of the toughest men ever, is Tank Dell. It's just like, dude snaps a leg last year, gets shot in the offseason, and he's like, oh yeah, preseason? What, you need me to catch a touchdown and break a couple tackles? I got you. Your boys still got it. Like, this is fucking impressive. Okay. We've not hit my last place team. So do we want to go there or?
Sure. Scared,
Okay.
I'm terrified.
Now, tighten up, everybody. And I have the Titans here, but I think this is the best last place team in the league. I just look at the schedule for the Titans, and there are too many stretches where they have brutal games in a row that I think I lean for them. I had them at one point at 7 wins. It ended up being 5-12. But I think when we look at it, whatever their win total is this year, if it's on the lower end, we're going to go, oh, the Titans really have something there. Because I like what they've done to the left side of the line. I think J.C. Latham is going to be a player for them. Then you got Skoronski next to him. They signed, was it Quessenberry, I believe? Where's my notes here? Yes, they signed center Lloyd Quessenberry. So I think that kind of center to left tackle is going to be real nice there. Like the addition of Tony Pollard at running back here. I was a little brutal on him maybe in my estimation of how he was last year, but now he's another year removed from a pretty severe leg injury. I think that helps him out. I really like the acquisition of Tyler Boyd too, somebody there that's comfortable for Will Levis over the middle of the football field. And then I look at like some of the departures as like, I mean, you're losing Derrick Henry. It's brutal. You're losing Azeez Al-Shaair and Nico Autry. Like they lost a lot of talent on this defense, but I just think that they've put together a team that's compelling. And once Hopkins is back, I know that the Titans are going to be entertaining. Mm-hmm. Like it's going to be fun to watch the Titans, as in where years past, maybe it wasn't as fun. They were playing close defensive battles. I think the Titans are going to score some points this year and make every game interesting and worth watching.
I think we're pretty in line, Tony. I want to know what Joe thinks of the Titans. Joe, weren't you a Will Levis guy, or am I tripping?
I'm the Will Levis believer on the show, but which is kind of, you guys are sitting here going, you believe in Will Levis, but it's 5-12. It's like, yeah, but it's also there's gonna be highs and lows in this. I think Will Levis is amazing for that Mayo commercial. That is hilarious. If you can. The parody in that and his commitment to it was so funny and so great. I really, really enjoyed that from Will Levis. Kyle's saying that it's one of the most boring teams, and it's like, I think that's what they have been. I don't think that's what they will be going forward. I don't think you have this kind of
power. Yeah. You got Chig. You got Chig at tight end. You got Ridley outside. D-Hop coming back. Treylon Burks doing whatever Treylon Burks can do. What's left here. Yeah,
two running backs.
Yeah, 2 running backs. I think that they have the roots of a good team. It's just, and I don't usually factor in injuries to my predictions, but when I look at this roster, I think it's very unlikely they keep it together throughout the entire 18-game season. And I kind of reflected that in my predictions. I actually have them 7-6 at a point in this, and then losing their final 4 games to go 7-10.
Okay, Joe.
Well, I'm not that low on the Tennessee Titans this year, and I've been trying to build up their offense in my head, and you guys know that when we do our fantasy drafts and stuff, I've been talking about Tony Pollard having a good year. I like the wide receivers. I was impressed with what Will Levis did towards the end of last year. There was a couple – he wasn't perfect. There was some things that you looked at him and go, can he improve on that? When they first hired Callahan, I was like, oh, what are we doing? And now I'm starting to believe in the Tennessee Titans just a little bit more. Their defense is a question mark, right? You saw a couple of their backups get ran through by Mason, the running back in their first game. They went out and got the 2 safeties from Seattle and brought them in. They brought in Snead from Kansas City. So I think once we see their first string defense on the field and what they could do, it's going to be an improvement. So I have the Tennessee Titans, Tony, actually finishing second in this division at 9-8. I just think they're going to put some points up. I have them at 9-8, and that's where I have them.
Yeah.
Whoever's the furthest off on the Titans has to wear Will Levis's cologne for a year.
For a year?
I already smell like mayonnaise, so it's all good.
My wife will not go for that, and I cannot afford a divorce. So I'm gonna pass on that. But I appreciate you throwing that in there. I was gonna say, if I just had to wear a mayo scented cologne once to I think that'd be a funny bet. If you had to go to a party wearing mayo cologne, and then we just followed that person around with a camera and got people's reaction to somebody smelling mayo. I think that would be it could be a funny video. Kyle makes a point here about it being a backfield that is built more for the pass game. I don't necessarily think that's bad. And the type of offense, the type of league that we're in now, I do think that can benefit you, especially if you might be in some more high scoring games. I think the defense, it's weird because you lose Mike Vrabel and then all of a sudden you think the defense might not be as good. They just lost a lot of pieces defensively, where I kind of want to see how it comes together, what the new defensive coordinator looks like. I think it's somebody who came from Baltimore, so it'll be interesting to see Denard Will. I don't want to say a name. I can't remember everybody's name. But
right. Denard Wilson.
Denard Wilson? Okay.
Also, this 60-40 split that he's referencing is right around the league average. So it's not like saying they're going to be this pass-heavy team to say they're going to pass 60% of the time. That's around what everyone's doing.
I read it as their abilities. I think he said that they're kind of 60-40, they're better pass catchers than they are legit runners. That's the way I interpreted Kyle's comment. I could be wrong. And
the strength scale.
Yes. Yeah, if you were saying, what do these two – because, imagine if you do get into a game, it's cold weather, and you trying to protect a less than 3-point lead, you're going to want to be able to, pound the rock a little bit. And I think that's where he's saying there might be a bit of a weakness there. So I just think that they're going to be interesting. Week 1, Titans, Bears. Like, I know that I'm jacked up to watch football, and any game is good games. And I'm watching preseason games, like they mean more than they do. But I think that that's a really interesting game 1, and not just because Caleb Williams is involved. Like, I think the Titans bring a lot of juice to the game too. So I'm here for it. And if the Titans are better than 5-12, I'll be happy for them. Like, I don't have any ill will against the Titans. It's just, this is how it shook out for me.
I got Titans over the Bears. Week 1. Upset.
Over the Bears week 1.
There you go. Close game.
Bears at home. That is an upset. Like, coming off of Hard Knocks, and
yeah, that's gonna make every Bears fan cry.
I do not have that as an upset. I think week 1 that it's gonna be rocking at formerly Soldier Field. I don't know what they call it now.
Yeah, whatever they call it nowadays. Please, let's talk about the Colts.
Yes, let's talk about the Colts. Wrap this show up. Get out of here. Who wants to go with the Colts? I led the last one. Mike?
Yeah, I got it. I love the Colts, man. And I just hope that Anthony Richardson can be smart and slide. Just slide. The dude got injured so early in last year. He probably should have gotten injured even earlier, because there were multiple moments in games that I was watching where Anthony Richardson could have slid, but instead tried to run over 2 defenders. And it's like, every time that happens, I'm just like waiting for him to get up off the ground. Like, just doom, 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 doom. And sure enough, eventually they got him, and he was out for the season. That's the biggest thing. I had them starting slow with this difficult schedule and then really speeding up in the second half of the year. In fact, I think I had them finishing the year like 9-3 or something. Some crazy strong run towards the late part of the season to end up 10-7. I hope that he can just stay healthy, man, because I see this offense has so much of the components that we've seen quarterbacks with Anthony Richardson's style in the past, Cam Newton, succeed with. And that's just that superstar running back, that really good rushing attack to feed off of that read option to play and read the RPO game, the run to pass option, as I stutter my way through this.
Yeah,
I hope the Colts are really good, because I'm a real big fan of a lot of players on the team.
Yeah. Joe?
Yeah, well, on that offense, you have 3 people that play hard, and their style of play doesn't last over amount of the 18-game season. In Pittman, in Taylor, and Richardson, all 3 of them put their bodies on the line, and they're not afraid to lower that shoulder and make the hit when they need to. But they also miss some time, and that's the crazy. If they can all stay on the field and be good, then I'm going to root for them. And one of my favorite guys, and I talked about him, is Josh Downs, and he's hurt right now. But I like Josh Downs and what the Colts can do with him. Again, I always go back to the defense, and I thought the Colts defense overachieved last year, and we've always talked about. We're like, this is one of the defenses that are shutting offenses down, and we don't know anybody, really know anybody on that team. Can they continue to do that and be good, another good defense, and play above? I would say play above their talent on that defense is what I'm looking at, as the rest of the teams like the Titans and the Texans continue to throw more weapons at you. So that's why I have them dropping. I have the Colts going 8-9 and 3rd in their division.
The Colts front 7, man. I'm excited to see what they do. But I didn't mention it too, and Joe brought it up, guys that like to play hard. Like, you look at the receiver core a year ago, last offseason to now, right? Draft Josh Downs to now, and it is just completely flipped. Like, Richardson has so many guys to mask this accuracy issue that he has, where you just throw a ball high up in the air and they're going to go get it. Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman, A.D. Mitchell, and then Josh Downs in the slot, Jelani Woods at tight end. I mean, the list keeps going. Do they still have Jelani Woods?
Yeah, I believe I saw him out there in preseason. The guy is just I think Bucky Brooks called him a billboard. He's a walking billboard, just so tall and broad. Like,
he reminds me of Julius Thomas a lot.
Oh, I could see that. He's not quite as fast, or doesn't look as fast as Julian Thomas. Maybe not as lean. I really wanted to pick the Colts to win the division, guys, so badly. I had them at one point at like 11-6, and the Texans at 10-7, and I was just like, this just doesn't seem right. And I ended up flipping back. I am going to say this right now. I know we'll do predictions for stuff, whatever. Laiatu Latu is going to be the defensive rookie of the year. I thought it really hurt him, the Samson Ebukam injury. But I like Shane Steichen as a coach and what's going on there. I do have them. I finished my final record prediction for them settled in at 9-8. I can see them winning 10 or 11 games this year. I think that the defense is going to be still just being able to get after the quarterback. I really like that. And I think that they might have a sneaky special teams guy in Anthony Gould. Was a smaller, speedier guy that they drafted. And if he can give them a little bit of a boost there, that's going to help out. And again, I think that there's something that needs to be said for teams that recognize that they have core players and they sign them. Grover Stewart is one of the most underrated players playing D-tackle, and he's out there. DeForest Buckner is a guy that is often forgotten about. If he played his whole career in San Francisco, we would look at him completely different. He is a monster on the inside. Mm-hmm. So I just really like this, and I think Kwity Paye can continue to take a step up. So I'm a believer in this, and the linebackers for them, Zaire Franklin, EJ Speed, another two players where it's like these guys play so fast, so reckless, they're so talented that I think that they can compensate for maybe a couple of spots in the secondary where you're unsure about some things like that. So I really like the Colts. Wanted to put the record higher, and I settled in second place, 9-8.
I just wish their schedule wasn't so tough, man. This schedule's tough. It's tough.
All these, like I said, all of these teams that are in the South, the AFC South, and in the NFC North, their schedules were some of the hardest to predict.